The scene is set in Texas, late 2025, and the housing market is shifting in ways both subtle and dramatic. Anyone looking to buy or sell a home right now is navigating currents that are different from even a year ago, and the truth is written in the numbers. Imagine a marketplace where buyers suddenly hold more options, and sellers are having to negotiate harder. Where values aren't simply climbing relentlessly, but rather pausing and even dipping in some areas. That's exactly the landscape unfolding across the Lone Star State as homes come to market, approaches change, and whole communities begin to recalibrate their expectations. This isn't just local. It's about Texas as a whole, a place where real estate has always meant opportunity, sometimes quick, sometimes unpredictable. What stands out this year is the median sale price. A buyer walking into the market in October of 2025 is looking at a median home price of $341,900, which, when measured against the previous year, signals a slight dip, down just under 1%. Now, while that small reduction may not set off alarm bells, it's an early sign that momentum has changed course. Behind it, a complex interplay of supply and demand is redefining what properties are worth and how long they linger before they're sold. Cue the first chart, a clear line tracing the movement of sale prices across Texas since 2023. There are moments of lift and drop, but what's most visible is a waning vigor after a peak in mid-2023. But it's not just about the average. In fact, certain places have completely bucked the statewide trend, showing that opportunity in Texas is highly regional. For instance, Hearst blasted past the rest, recording a jaw-dropping 40.3% surge in median home price this year, something hardly anyone could have forecast 12 months ago. Next in line, cities such as Port Aransas, Brownwood, Friendswood, and Believer Peninsula have each logged double-digit year-over-year increases, making them the focus for investors gambling on outsized returns. The accompanying chart here brilliantly illustrates these metro price gains, with Hearst at the front of the pack. Moving from prices to activity, the story sharpens. In October, only 25,784 homes exchanged hands statewide, a notable reduction of nearly 4% compared to 2024. This is not just the rhythm of the seasons at play, it's something deeper, a cooling that pervades many corners of the market. As sellers adapt, they're willing to wait longer and field more offers, hoping for a buyer who'll meet terms. This new patience is visible in the next graphic. The number of homes sold, charted across the past 3 years, shows a clear ebb in 2025. Every dip and rise on the chart represents real decisions: families waiting, investors pausing, sellers holding out. The buyer's timeline is stretching further too. Homes in Texas now spend a median of 73 days on the market, up by about 12 days from last year. That extra time matters. It's a signal that urgency is slipping, power is shifting, and buyers no longer feel compelled to rush decisions. Here, the recommended chart maps the trend in median days on market, a line that climbs notably this year, reflecting the growing deliberation and negotiation at play. While activity slows, the tide of inventory rises. Texas sees an explosion in homes listed for sale. 178,605 properties, which is more than 8% higher than 1 year ago. This growing inventory turns the spotlight on the shifting dynamics between buyers and sellers. The number of new home listings, however, is not keeping pace with total inventory, down by nearly 4%, with just over 36,373 homes newly listed this year. This discrepancy is not random. It shows that more houses are sitting unsold for longer rather than being snapped up quickly. 2 charts are crucial here. One shows the total homes for sale, climbing steadily as the months pass. The other captures the number of new listings, which remains relatively flat or trending lower, hinting at friction beneath the surface. In practical terms, this means buyers have more leverage when they enter negotiations. There's less pressure to overpay or accept rushed deals. Sellers, meanwhile, need to work harder through staging, pricing, or incentives. All this is underscored by the fact that the average months of supply rests at 5 and has barely budged year over year. The accompanying chart provides a visual cue, as 5 months of supply marks a midpoint between too few and too many homes, a sign of balance, but with hints that more inventory could start tipping the scale if trends persist. What's really new, however, is how price competition is showing on the ground. Bidding wars, once a defining feature of Texas real estate, are now less common. Just over 10% of homes in Texas are selling above their listed price, down more than a percentage point from last year. If you're watching for buyer intensity, this plunge is significant. It means fewer frenzied offers and more strategic purchases. The corresponding chart here draws the eye to the steady decline in homes sold above list price, a visual story of fading competition and a more measured, buyer-friendly market. As 2025 unfolds, the competitive map of Texas is being redrawn. There's a marked shift not only in prices and supply, but also in the psychology of the market. Sellers are responding to this cooled demand by adjusting expectations, and soon enough, more and more price drops begin to appear across listing platforms. Consider this: 35.5% of homes listed saw a reduction in price before selling, a rise of more than 5 percentage points compared to last year. This is crystallized by a sharp upward line in the relevant chart, signaling that sellers are learning to adapt quickly or risk sitting on stale properties. Still, there's resilience in pricing. The statewide sale-to-list ratio is 96.7%, meaning sellers are, on average, netting almost exactly their asking price. This consistency shows that, though some are forced to drop listing prices to attract buyers, many who price right from the start are rewarded with strong offers. The accompanying chart here is flat and unwavering, mirroring the steady sale-to-list price trend that provides a reassuring anchor in otherwise volatile conditions. Diving deeper, local factors start to dominate. Texas is famously diverse when it comes to housing dynamics. While headlines might focus on broad statewide trends, true opportunity and risk lie tucked among micro-markets. The top 5 most competitive cities this year, Bedford, The Woodlands, Lancaster, Deer Park, and Hearst, are the epicenter of activity. In these locations, demand continues to outpace supply, and buyers must still be strategic to lock down the properties most in demand. Where competition heats up, price resilience follows. Here, the referenced chart ranking these cities should appear, giving clear visual context for where bidding wars and rapid turnover remain the rule. But why do these markets stand out when others are slowing down? Frequently, local job markets, infrastructure investments, migration patterns, and even school rankings fuel one area's growth while another stagnates. Hearst, for instance, tops both competitiveness and price growth, driven by its unique blend of community appeal, employment hubs, and accessibility. The markets of the Woodlands and Lancaster have seen similar surges for comparable reasons, drawing buyers seeking established neighborhoods and rising prospects. Meanwhile, outside the top performers, other regions reflect a more cautious landscape. In the broader metros, Dallas, Houston, and increasingly Austin, inventories swell and days on market drag out. Sellers in these locations face a different reality, often competing against dozens of similar listings and working to differentiate through pricing or upgrades. A chart representing days on market for these larger metropolitan areas is essential here, demonstrating the lag and highlighting pockets where opportunity might be found for buyers looking to negotiate hard. Even within smaller markets, individual cities like Brownwood, Friendswood, and Believer Peninsula are bucking the statewide norm, riding waves of investment in boutique properties and vacation homes. As prices in these areas spike, fueled by demand for second homes or investor speculation, it brings a new set of risks. Fast rises can mean just as fast reversals if the wider economy shifts or if supply surges unexpectedly. This mosaic of conditions means there's no one-size-fits-all playbook for buyers or sellers. Instead, adaptability becomes the key trait. Reading trends, understanding local metrics, and timing market moves with precision. Midway through this journey, the audience is prompted to pause and reflect. What are viewers seeing in their Texas neighborhood? Is competition fierce, or are sellers yielding ground? Here, inserting a conversational cue for viewers to share insights and questions in the comments creates engagement and fosters a live sense of community expertise. Tiered opportunities and risks emerge from the supply data as well. With existing inventory at a high and balancing months of supply, buyers can afford to be selective. Those willing to wait, negotiate, and screen multiple prospects will benefit from a more relaxed pace. Sellers, in contrast, must market creatively or accept that price drops may be inevitable in overstocked locales. The graphic here, showing months of inventory, is crucial. It serves as a thermometer for strategic planning and underscores why patience is now a virtue more than ever. Layered onto all these trends is the undercurrent of changing migration. Some cities attract new residents at impressive rates, while others experience outflow, cooling the housing market further. The charts representing net metro inflows and outflows bring clarity to this point, helping viewers understand why certain neighborhoods rise in competitiveness while others ease off. Throughout, one constant remains. The housing landscape in Texas is dynamic, shaped by both macroeconomic forces and the idiosyncrasies of each town and city. National policy, interest rates, and employment influence the broad strokes, but the local brushwork, unique amenities, new developments, or logistical advantages can shift fortunes overnight. So where does this leave those hoping to navigate the Texas housing market in 2025 and beyond? At its core, the story is about transition, a market shaking off old certainties and pointing toward new norms. It's no longer automatic that listing a home will mean fast offers or bidding wars. Instead, there's a new calculus, weighing prices against supply, local competition, and even the patience of buyers as more choices crowd the field. Sellers who stand out often do so by pricing strategically, presenting homes with updates and unique appeal, or simply waiting for the right season. Price reductions are not a mark of failure, but a tool, one now used more frequently as inventories hold steady and buyers know they can afford to wait. The audience is drawn back to the earlier chart showing the surge in price drops, cementing the idea that sellers who adjust quickly retain leverage, while those who resist face longer waits on the market. Meanwhile, buyers are savoring newfound flexibility. They can tour multiple homes, negotiate confidently, and even time their offers more favorably. That's because the months of supply persist at a reasonable 5, neither a flood nor a drought, but a signal that buyers have room to move. The attached chart depicting this steady supply is invoked again here, reinforcing the notion that balance has become the new standard. It's crucial, however, not to view Texas as a single entity. Some regions, bolstered by booming job sectors, new infrastructure, or shifting demographics, will continue to outperform. Hearst, the Woodlands, and others serve as beacons for those chasing appreciation and rapid turnover. Their stories, mapped by dedicated charts, show how local surges create national attention, drawing not just homeowners but also investors and developers looking for the next big thing. Conversely, the larger metros such as Dallas, Houston, and Austin illustrate a different reality: a slower churn, more supply pressure, and sometimes stubborn prices. Here, buyers may find greater negotiating power and more choices, but must also wrestle with the risks that come from longer days on market and saturation. Chart references for each of these cities provide context to viewers seeking specifics on their own local options. There's also the matter of speculative surges, cities where prices leap on investor activity or vacation home demand. Brownwood, Friendswood, Bolivar Peninsula, all on the fast-rising list, demonstrate how quickly things can change. With each chart illustrating these jumps, the viewer is reminded that such growth is double-edged, offering potential windfall or sudden reversals. What remains true across Texas is the critical role of timing and information. Buyers and sellers who follow the charts, understand the trends, and keep tabs on both their local market and the broader state picture are best positioned to act confidently. Whether the goal is finding a forever home, flipping a property for profit, or building a portfolio, the right data makes the difference between guessing and knowing. As the narrative wraps, the invitation is to engage, reflect, and share what's happening in each viewer's neighborhood. The call is for community. They are urged to comment on which trends surprised them, how the charts mirror their own experience, and where they believe the market is headed next. By integrating feedback, opinions, and local stories, new insights emerge, driving future analysis and spotlighting new microtrends as they appear. Finally, the script circles back to the source: housing intel. Viewers are reminded that in a climate where every number counts and every graph reveals fresh opportunity, staying connected is essential. The invitation stands: join the housing intel community, subscribe for the next wave of insights, and come prepared for the evolving landscape. With every chart reviewed, every region spotlighted, and every viewer's experience folded in, Texas real estate becomes a story of discovery, informed action, and shared success.